So we find ourselves at the Mighton Hospice facilities here,
Yes.
which I have to say are absolutely amazing. It's like a hotel room and really comfortable.
Well, I must admit, I've had first-hand experience of this room, so yes, it is very comfortable. Yeah, what an incredible place to be in. But why are we here?
So we're about to embark on the 1,000-mile ride again.
Again.
We said we'd never do it. I said I'd never do it again. And the reality is, it's not 1,000 miles. It ends up near 1,100 miles to comply with the rules. Do you want to just talk us through the ride itself and what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, blimey. Okay, so the ride itself, as you said, is the 1,000 miles challenge, or the Saddlesore 1000, as it's called.
Aptly named.
Yeah, Saddlesore is definitely the right name for it. I can think of better names now we've done it. So we've done it before, obviously. It is one hell of a challenge. It's an endurance ride, not a race. It is an endurance ride where we as motorcyclists go through absolute hell. We've got to cover a distance of 1,000 miles, marking off different checkpoints and making sure it's all accredited. We need to make sure we get receipts at right places, and that can be then judged between the different points. Not only have we got to cover 1,000 miles safely, securely, within the laws of the land, of course, but it's got to be done within a time limit. The time limit, of course, as we know, is 24 hours.
Yes, and last time we did it, we left Scotland with about an hour and a half in hand,
Yes.
and we finished it with about 15 minutes to go.
That was ridiculous.
Everything was against us on the last stages of that.
God, yeah, thinking about it, I remember it now, yeah.
So the reason we're here today is not necessarily to talk in detail about the ride and the ins and outs, although we can talk a little bit about what we're likely to face and the planning for it.
Yep.
I think first of all is, why did we pick Mighton? I know we both had different reasons for doing that. Why did you pick Mighton?
So when we were choosing the charity, it was we obviously wanted something which was going to be close to our hearts and something that meant a lot to a lot of people. And Mighton was something I always thought, yeah, this is something I want to support, but I wanted to make sure that the rest of the group were interested in it. It meant something to them as well. It's amazing when you say the word Mighton, how many people's eyes light up. They instantly recognise it as a charity, not just as a place for end-of-life care, palliative care, that sort of thing, but the support and everything they give to so many people for so many different reasons.
If I stop you there, that all sounds nice and cosy and fluffy, but you've got first-hand, as I have, first-hand reasons for being involved. Do you want to?
Yes.
Just tell me why you're really here.
Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't want it to be about me, but no. To be honest with you, Mighton to me means a lot because my mum was diagnosed with cancer, a brain tumour, and she had been battling for many months, going from hospital to hospital. Managed to come home, then back in hospital, and it was mayhem. It was crazy. It was all over the place. We got to the point in her diagnosis where it was coming to the later stages, shall we say, and we were invited to come here to Mighton. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know much about it at the time. I didn't. I just thought it was this place, a hospice, a place where people go. But coming here and having how we were treated as a family, how she was treated as a patient was like nothing we'd ever experienced. The hospitals were great. The hospitals were fantastic, of course they were. But coming here, the respect and the level of care and attention that they gave my mum, but as I keep saying, us as a family as well, was unbelievable.
And you got to use these rooms, and
yes,
this was your base.
So when it came to the point where we were spending more and more time here, they offered us one of these rooms, and we thought it was just going to be a bed, in a corner sort of thing. But this exact room I'm in now, which brings back so many memories, was the room that they offered us. We opened the door, and I remember it now, thinking, my God, what is this? This is like a luxurious hotel room, and this just goes to show the level of care that they give, how much they want to look after you as the family members. The patients, of course, they need as much care as they can, but it's us as the family members that, of course, have it hard as well. So yes, this was our home for a good few weeks. It was tough. But enough about me. What about yourself? What's your experience with Mighton?
Oh God, my kids went to school just down the road from here, and we knew of the place. We'd been to a couple of the charity things, which are fundraisers in the garden and a few events like that. But it was all kind of arm's length and a bit cosy. And then kind of rolling up, my first wife, Lynn, who did. Excuse me a minute.
Take your time.
She passed away in this building, not in this room, in 1995, and she'd been battling cancer on and off for about 5 years, and I remember getting almost to the point of 2 years, just come back from a cruise actually, first and last one I've ever been on. We just got back, and then she got the diagnosis, and then went into another 2 years of battling, and to be honest, all of it's a blur, I can't remember too much about it. But like you, we ended up getting into getting transferred from hospitals who, like you say, were amazing and whatever, but we're all about trying to find a cure or kind of day-to-day care, trying to prolong her life. And then it was suggested that we come here, and if I'm totally honest, I was a bit apprehensive, to say the least, because I think I associated with it as been the place where people come to die. And it was kind of that realisation that this is really real. And then once we were in the place, God, this is supposed to be a tough businessman, yeah, it's getting to me. Once we came here, and I can remember lots of things really clearly, and lots of things I've totally blanked. It's really strange. But I remember being in the bed here, surrounded by family, and the one thing that I took away, well, the two things, that one, it was very calm, as it is today. I think we're the noisiest people here.
Definitely.
And whenever you asked anything of the staff, they'd sit down and talk to you. And unlike a hospital, and I've been there for many, many times for various reasons with the kids and family and whatever, but it was almost like, as long as it took, until you sort of said, oh, right, great, you've answered my question or whatever, they would stay with you. And it was at no point did I ever feel that there was a bit of a time constraint or a time limit. And as they said to us, it's not necessarily about finding a solution, it's about managing quality of life and dealing with pain. And once you took that on board, it just changed the whole kind of outlook. So for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer. And then my family history, I remarried, and my second wife, who is the mother of my kids, two grown-up girls now, she passed away. And I'm very happily married for a third time, and my wife has been battling cancer for 20 years on and off, and she's been given a 3 to 4 year prognosis at the start of COVID, so we're kind of right towards the end of that prognosis period. And we openly talk about what's going on and where we are in the process, and in some ways, having been through it before, it makes it easier, but in a lot of ways it makes it a lot harder, because you kind of judge everything and value everything and kind of perceive everything in the terms of what you did before, and that might not be the same. But again, we're going down some very familiar routes, and I'm hearing some very familiar conversations, and there's morphine around and all sorts of treatments and things, and more pills than you care to consider. So it all seems very real and very personal to me. And I didn't know how I was going to feel when I came back to the building here, but actually when I rode in, it had changed a little bit, and it's amazing what they've done with the place in the time since we were here last in '95. It's all been decorated, it looks smart.
Was this here when you were here last?
I don't remember this bit at all, this new bit. We were in the main building. I honestly can't tell you exactly how long we're in. I think it was a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. It wasn't much longer than that, because most of our time had been going into the hospitals in the local area for various things. So yeah, I think for both of us, it's a special place.
Definitely, yeah.
And I think the difference for me this time around, last year we had a lot of fun doing the ride for the air ambulance, and that was surprisingly successful. I think this time around, yes, we're riding bikes and it's something we love doing, and the build-up and everything, but actually it feels different. It feels a lot more serious and a lot more real, and really glad it's Myton. I felt quite daunted, when he brings back all those emotions and thoughts, and even just interacting with the staff here, it brings a lot of it back. It's the lumps of the throat kind of thing.
It's walking around and seeing the uniforms and that familiar sort of sense. I mean, because you were only here 2 weeks, but I'm sure they were like the longest 2 weeks ever.
I think it was 2 weeks. I honestly can't remember. It was
a blur. It's
blur.
mad.
Yeah.
You do have these days where you remember everything, every detail, we had some robins outside the window once, and I remember that like
and we had the peacocks. Yeah, there's something really strange. I don't think we're correctly dressed for this, are we?
No, well, because we are supporting Mighton, should we?
I think we should
don our correct gear.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Ready? That's better. Look at that. Here we go.
Oh, it feels all official then now. So, the ride itself, I said I wasn't going to talk too much about that, but
yes.
Tell me about the milestones and what went through your thought process as you were doing it last time.
Last time? Oh, God.
What about the build-up to it?
The build-up, I was well, because it was the unknown.
Yes.
It was very positive. It was full of energy. Oh my God, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. It's great. And obviously raising as much money as we did it for the Midland Air Ambulance, which was a great charity. Some people were behind us, supporting us, fundraising for us, raising the money, and obviously
the overnight crew that sponsored us.
Oh God, yes, of course. So we had Gaia, of course, last year, who helped us and supported us with the paperwork and making sure it was all efficient.
Keeping me awake.
Sue was amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm sure she was on the phone to you for other reasons, but we'll leave that. No, she was great. She was keeping us awake, keeping us alive, and sometimes having that conversation when you're on the road, it just keeps you awake, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it was great, and of course then we hit the road and everything was great. And the first couple of milestones we got, the first fuel stations, we seemed to be creeping up in time, which was great. We were getting ahead of the curve.
Yeah, from 4:30 in the morning.
From 4:30 in the morning.
Pitch black, and yes.
That was, but again, that was surprisingly easy because I think it was the excitement, the adrenaline, and everything.
And people came to see us off at 4:30 in the morning. I'm not sure I'd have done that, but absolutely amazing.
Great support.
That was incredible.
And we'd love that again this year, of course, if anyone can do.
Yeah.
But then, of course, we got to the halfway point. We got to Scotland, which was the furthest point away, and then we started to make our descent down. I think that was the point to start to go, this is a task. This is a journey.
You said halfway point, but I remember one of the milestones. Well, I remember the sun coming up at sort of just gone 7:30, and we were about level with Manchester, and then we got the sun coming up and the rain coming down, which is about right for Manchester. And that wasn't too bad. I mean, and then I remember filtering through the roadworks and conscious that whilst you can't speed, you don't want to drop your average speed. I remember that would be the challenge.
What was average speed about to have?
We managed to maintain 72 miles an hour all the way to the Scottish border, but that was about riding in a very smooth, controlled way. But I think the real sort of bit that's got to me was when we landed we went right across Scotland, and that was absolutely beautiful. That was in daylight. But when we got to Dingwall, north of Inverness, and I looked and we'd only done 9 hours. And I think at that point, I suddenly realised that, we're almost at the top edge of Scotland. We haven't even got to halfway yet. In fact, we're several hours short of it. And I think that was the moment when I thought, oh my God, what have we done? If you break down or if you can't make it or for whatever reason, you're a long way from home, that was the bit that really got me up till that point.
Yeah.
And then as we coming down through Scotland was beautiful. Then we hit the border, didn't we? And then the traffic density started to shoot up.
Yes. And
then from that point on, that last bit, the slog down through Berwick-on-Tweed and the road closures and whatever. You did a video shoot at the garage, and I'm trying to think what it was in the early hours of the morning, and you looked at all of us, and there was nobody at home. Yeah, the bouncy positive bit had gone on there. Everyone was digging deep and just being quiet, and they were in themselves, and
But we kept going, and we didn't give up.
Yeah.
We although there was nothing left in the tank, it was we had that determination of this challenge needs to be fulfilled, and I think that if I'd done it on my own, I would have struggled a lot more. So we struggled anyway. But having everyone there supporting you, and sometimes when you're riding along, you look in the mirror and you see the guys behind you or in front of you. That was what we needed.
Yeah, and you actually got used to. Well, a lot of them we'd ridden together with some of the guys, and we kind of knew each other's riding styles, and there are different styles of riding.
Yes.
And I think that struck me when we were going up the motorway sections in the busy areas, we were quite bunched up, weren't we? Quite close together. That bit across Scotland, I think we were 3/4 of a mile apart between bikes, and it was strung out over a long distance. And then it was just beautiful taking it in. Everybody was going at sensible speed, and I mean, yes, a couple of times we overtook and videoed each other, but in the main, everybody was quite chilled and concentrating, but in taking it all in. And then coming back down the east coast again, we kind of closed back up again, and it was everybody was working hard, pulling for each other because it was just a hard slog. And the lowest of the low period, I know I hit the wall before you did. I think I was about 3 hours to go. I was.
How did you get over that? How did you...
I had my first ever Red Bull, and my head nearly blew off. I thought, being a spring chicken, I'd been warned not to, that it can do strange things to you. And after about half an hour after having that, I was ready to go around the track again.
Yeah, you were a different person.
I thought, my God. So I might do that again, but as an emergency thing. But I certainly wouldn't want to do more than one of those. And that helped. And then I'll let you tell the story, but because it hit you later on.
Yes, apparently it did. I don't remember this, but Nigel loves telling people that when where were we? Was it the A46?
I got a call from Gaia saying that the road was shut and we were coming down the M40, I think.
That's right, yeah. And Nigel was trying to get hold of me, of course. He's had the phone calls, had the information we need to divert. And apparently he came up next to me and was waving, trying to call me. There was no one there.
You were doing good motorway speed and there was nobody at home. I think you were just on autopilot.
Yes.
And then when we finally got to worked our way through the closed roads in the early hours of morning, at 4 o'clock in the morning in
Coventry City Centre,
with about 15 minutes left to get to the finishing point. And then we took a photograph, an impromptu one with everybody with arms around each other, and I think we were pretty much literally holding each other up.
We were.
You're thinking, there's not a lot left.
No, but that was. But then that sense of achievement. In fact, that sense of achievement. Not only was it great, yes, we've done it, fantastic. I needed that little boost to get home afterwards because, of course,
I don't remember getting home afterwards.
No.
I again, got home. It was safe. I remember putting the bike to bed, and then I remember getting a few hours sleep, and then having to do another live radio interview.
Yes.
And I must have sounded like I've been on the beer all night. I felt like I'd got jet lag. It was the best description. So that was an experience, having to dig deep and do a photo. And I didn't know if I was morning or evening. It was just bizarre. I was just on autopilot.
Well, you said jet lag. It probably is that.
Yeah, very strange. So okay, we've talked a bit about the hospice and what we're doing, the mechanics of it. I mean, we're going again on a similar route, aren't we, up the west coast?
Yeah, similar. We've learned from our mistakes. Not mistakes. We've learned from the potential hazards. Yeah, exactly. So we're doing a very similar route. Obviously, it is the same. In fact, it's just over the distance. We want to make sure that the route is more. The route we're going to do is going to be better for us.
And we're taking Jock, so he can translate when we get north of the border.
Exactly. So we've got a translator there.
Yeah.
But we've got the support crew's changed slightly different this year. Sue is now officially part of the support crew, along with Zuza. So between the two, they'll be working shifts. They'll be making sure that we are all okay. We're still moving. We're on time. They'll also be monitoring the roads for us.
And of course, everybody can track us.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to have I believe we're going to work out which one it's going to be, but I think it may be Google Maps at the moment, where we can share our location. Anyone can log in and see where we are at any point in time. The riders themselves, they'll be split into pairs. So I'll be stuck with yourself.
Yep.
Me and Nigel again.
Dream team. We know what we're doing, we think.
Yeah. God, hang on, we haven't done it yet. And then all the others will be paired off all in twos. Ideally, we want to stick together, but worst comes to worst, the pairs will stick together. So if someone has a puncture, a breakdown, or just needs a rest, they can do. But yes, it's going to be an interesting one.
And let's talk about, we go back to the charity again then. So what is it you want to, what's your personal goal for this?
Personal goal, yes, it is to raise some money. Of course, it is. That's one of the great things we can do. We can give back financially, but also awareness of what Mighton Hospice is, what it does, the amazing work they do, not just in here but out and about as well. So people understand that the hospice is not just a place, like you said earlier, where we initially thought it's a place where people come to have their end of life. It is treatment. It is trying to help people and trying to prolong that.
And a lot of people do go home afterwards.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so I have to say my perception was wrong. I think it was just the way I kind of understood it to be, and that place down the road that you don't go to unless you have to, kind of thing. And you might pop along to a garden party kind of thing. But I always associated it as an end of journey kind of place.
Yes.
And as my other half quite rightly told me off, it's not about that at all. It's about managing the pain and the care and that side of it. And like you said, not just for the patients, but for the family, which you don't really understand, particularly as blokes, because we're not normally good at sharing emotions and that kind of thing. You kind of bottle it up, and then it gets you at different times. And just and just having someone to talk to who can answer you questions in a way you want them answered, straight, factually.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're not the first or the last ever to go through it, I think that kind of is good. Yes, for me it's about getting the awareness that they want, and hopefully people will follow what we're doing and have some interest in it. And the other side of it, the money side, I believe it's around about £700 per family per day it costs to keep somebody here. So at the moment we've looked after somebody potentially for 4 days, or supported
Crazy,
that,
isn't it?
which is not where we want to be.
No.
Yeah, we would like to do a lot more than that. Between our families have already used more than that time.
It's very true.
So, yeah, let's see what we can do. And in the meantime, I know we've got a few other quirky ideas to try and boost the campaign as well. The bike thing is the main event, but I know the bike group we've got up for all sorts of adrenaline-based activities, and so we've got a few things that might help, and anything we raise from them will go onto the onto the system. Do you want to talk about the process and the QR code and how someone might be able to follow?
So yes, we've got a Just Giving page. Just Giving page is justgiving.com/page/Midlands Motorbikers.
But if you can't remember all that,
yes, if you can't remember that, on screen now.
yes.
But also we've got a QR code for you, which you can click on there. You can scan it with your phone. That'll take you straight there and straight to the donation page. That page will also give you updates of where we are, what we're doing, how it's going, any other updates which we've got on the ride or the event itself, and any other fundraising or additional support we've got. And yeah, that's the best way of looking after us. Everything will be put onto there, and hopefully you can follow us and join us.
Excellent. Well, I wish you well with this venture, and next time
You're coming with us.
I'm away next time.
No, you're coming next. All I told you, there's the 1,500 mile.